Welcome everyone to the College Q&A with Muskegon Community College. Jamar Ragland is here today to share with you about all the opportunities that MCC has to offer students in the Lakeshore. And so I'm so excited, Jamar, to hear from you and to hear about MCC and to learn more.
Thank you, thank you. Bonjour, tout le monde. Hola a todo. If you don't know what I said in either French or Spanish, hello everyone. Thank you for having me. Thank you for your attendance on today. As Jody mentioned, I am Jamar Ragland, Enrollment Services Representative at Muskegon Community College. Before I give any presentation, I always feel it to be highly important to just give a little background so that there's some additional connection. So you meet the man outside of the enrollment services role. So with that being said, originally I'm from heaven, but I was born in Detroit. I am a first generation college graduate. I graduated high school when I was 17 and then went to Grand Valley State University. I got my bachelor's in criminal justice and then went ahead and got my master's in higher education, student affairs leadership. That was in 2015. That same year, I became a college advisor at Muskegon High School, essentially helping students make that transition to college, figure out what it is that they want to do after high school, help them fill out the FAFSA, take them on college trips, bring colleges to the school. So different things of that nature, essentially just being that person that I didn't have to help me navigate this college access process. Did that for 2 years, loved it. And then in 2017, I started working at Muskegon Community College in my current role. I love it. A lot of my former students I still see, interact with. So it's just a great place. So that's a little bit about me. And with that being said, I will now start to share my screen and get into this presentation. All right. So can everyone see me? Give me a thumbs up. Okay, great. Thank you. So, like I said, when I started at MCC in 2017, we were the #1 ranked community college in the state of Michigan. Since then, we still remain one of the top institutions in the state of Michigan. Um, a lot of that is due to the products that we put out in terms of our students, whether that be to transfer to a four-year institution or simply just get a certificate or an associate's degree and go straight into the workforce. We do a great job at preparing students for that. Um, I want to dispel some myths when it comes to community colleges. A lot of people have negative perceptions of them, and that just shouldn't be the case. We're looked at as being less than your four-year institutions and also looked at as not having the things that they have both in and out of the classroom, to which that's not the case all the time. So, that being said, let's get into a few advantages of attending Muskegon Community College. The first being our small class sizes. Even before the pandemic, our class sizes were about 19 students to a classroom. Um, After the pandemic or during the pandemic, um, the number of students in the class have gone down for the most part. And that plays to your advantage as a student because your instructors get to know you on a more personal level. They can tell when something is a little off and get you connected to the resources. As to you being in a class 50 plus, 100 plus, 200 plus, sometimes it's kind of hard to see those things. All of our instructors come to you with years of experience in the field that they're instructing you in. So that goes against, the myth that community colleges are less than four-year institutions on an academic level for multiple reasons. One, a lot of our instructors do teach at four-year institutions, for one. too, and I'm kind of getting ahead of myself when we talk about the transferability, but um, regardless of where you go your first 2 years, if you're planning on getting a bachelor's degree, you're taking the same set of classes, the gen eds, your math, your English, your writing, your science with a lab, without a lab. All those are the same, regardless of where you attend. Um, and that's why we have the MTA, Michigan Transfer Agreement. So let me go back to our multiple career options. We have 75 plus different programs in a combination of certificates and two different types of associate degrees. Certificates, if you're not familiar with them, they essentially are designed for those individuals who realize they want to get something more than a high school diploma, but they don't want to go to school for a long time. Certificates are a great option for you. And they're also designed for people who like to work well with their hands. So, for example, we have our shortest certificate is a 6 month correction certificate. Essentially, it's about 6 to 8 classes in that program. You take those, you pass them. You take the state test, you pass that. Now you're certified to work in any correctional facility in the state of Michigan. And the last time I checked, correctional officers got paid quite well. And this is all from a 6 month certificate program. We also have a certificate program in welding, computer aided design, CNA, medical assisting certificate as well. Moving right along to our first associate degree, um, our associates in applied science. This degree is designed with that person who realize or feels that they want to get something more than a certificate, but not quite a 4 year degree. They want to get those 2 years done and then go straight into the workforce. That is what our associates in applied science degree is for. Then we have our associates in science and arts, um, essentially designed for that person to transfer. We have a couple of different tracks, whether you're looking at going into early or elementary education, criminal justice, health sciences. So outside of nursing, respiratory therapy, or medical assisting, you know, that track would be ideal for you because it has a lot of the biologies, some chemistries infused with that. Um, Going back to the transferability, that general ASA degree has the MTA built into a Michigan Transfer Agreement, which basically is an agreement between community colleges in the state of Michigan and 4 year institutions in the state of Michigan. That basically says as long as you take these classes that are listed out, pass them with a C or better, they'll transfer to any one of those 4 year institutions seamlessly. All right, so just want to highlight I love free stuff. I don't know about you. Um, More so free food or free clothing, but still, free is free nonetheless. At MCC, our application is free online. Um, we also offer free parking. I told you I went to Grand Valley State. When I was a student there, parking permit was $185 a semester. The crazy thing about that is you're not guaranteed a parking spot. And if you do find a parking spot, it's not guaranteed to be close to where you live or where you need to go. Okay. Now, with all of the walking that I did, it's amazing that my six pack is still not out of the cooler. But that's another subject for another day. We also offer free printing. Now, pay close attention to the colleges that you're looking at. Some of them have those fees built into it. Um, but at MCC, you do not have to worry about that. Um, every student receive a $30 printing credit each semester. Students rarely go over that unless they're printing like whole textbooks. In that case, you will go over that, but you do have $30 free to print on campus for that semester. We also have free tutoring. Pretty much every subject that you need or would look to receive tutoring in, we have you covered. Dean is who you see pictured there in the tie, the red tie. He's over our tutoring center. He's a math guru. So if you're struggling in math, you can go see him. Moving right along, disability and support services. If in high school you have an IEP or 504 plan and you're receiving accommodations, that can continue at MCC. All we would need is just documentation of that disability. Um, if you need help with getting documentation for a disability, that office can assist you with that as well. But also, if for some reason, something happened to your dominant hand and you are no longer able to take notes, some of the accommodations that they can provide or we have provided for individuals, we've got them a note taker so that they can keep up in that particular class. Um, Counseling. Our counselors double as academic counselors, so they function as just like your high school counselor would. They help you pick out your classes, make sure you're on track to graduate, also make sure you're in the right program. If you need to change your program, you would also do that with the counselor. So that's on one end. On the other side, they are licensed and certified. So if you're experiencing any health issues, whether it be cognitively or emotionally, and you need someone to talk to, you can talk to one of our counselors and receive that confidentiality privilege, just so you know. Um, CLEP testing, I'll hit on that as a part of one of the resources that we offer. Um, if you are unfamiliar with that, essentially think of AP credit. So you take the class, you take the test at the end, and then you get a qualifying score. Then you will now get that college credit. CLEP testing is similar. You pay to take the test. They give you a study packet beforehand. You go take the test, you receive the qualifying score, you get credit for that particular course. Um, Lastly, our Health and Wellness Center, it opened January 2019. There are workout equipment, free weights, ellipticals, indoor track, basketball court, volleyball court, wrestling room, um, locker rooms with showers so you can stay fresh after you get a good workout in. All right, so let's talk about money. Um, and I always have to give this disclaimer when we get to this slide here. Um, During my experience, this is only to share something that you should not do. Like I told you that I went to Grand Valley State, got my bachelor's. What I didn't tell you at that particular time was after I finished with my bachelor's, I was $32,000 in student loan debt. I also told you I went and got my master's. When I finished with my master's, what I didn't tell you, but I'm telling you now, um, I, f- I was in $109,000 in student loan debt. Student loan debt is a very real thing. Um, you do not have to go down the same path that I went down. There are options for you. So, with that being said, on this next slide, I'm going to show you some figures comparing MCC to your public four-year institutions in the state and your private four-year institutions in the state. Here's the disclaimer. Me showing you this is not to tell you that you should not attend any one of these schools or types of schools. It is simply to show you what you're getting yourself into, okay? As you can see, MCC for an out-of-county student is right around $8,000. Keep in mind, we do not have housing, so you don't have to essentially worry about that if you are commuting. But if you move nearby and you're on your own, you have to factor that into your cost of attendance. But as you can see, compared to your four-year public institutions, almost three times less pretty much. And then compared to your private four-year institutions, um, what, about 5, 6 times less the cost of that. So you see quite the savings you're experiencing or can experience by attending MCC. Now, in full transparency, I will say this. Um, you may not pay the actual sticker price here, okay? Um, that's if you don't qualify for any financial aid, no scholarships, nothing of that nature. Your private four-year institutions do a great job of awarding you aid, and that will get you on par to what you would probably be paying at a public four-year institution. So again, this is only to put it right there in front of you. Is not to say do not attend those institutions. It's only to kind of give you a reality check to let you know what you're getting yourself into. Reason being, tuition, cost of attendance tends to rise at colleges once a year. And that is something, to be concerned about or to have on your radar. So with that being said, let's make sure you got a financial game plan. The first thing that we're going to talk about, we're going to work our way from left to right, the FAFSA, short for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. Essentially, this is what you fill out to see if you qualify for any free money from the federal government, be it in the form of a Pell Grant, supplemental educational opportunity grant. If you're looking at taking out loans, smartly or wisely, you do want to look at federal student loans because they tend to come with a lower interest rate compared to private student loans. Also, for my folks who feel like your parents make too much money and you wouldn't qualify for any other free money, just know that scholarships um, do require you to fill out the FAFSA most of the time. I always tell students it can only help you, not hurt you. Okay, for filling that out. Second one, Future for Frontliners, recently rolled out by our Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Essentially, high school students, unfortunately, you would not qualify, but we put this up here just in case you have a family friend, a parent, um, anyone that you would possibly know that is available to them, and it's money for their tuition and the mandatory fees. If you're out of county, uh, basically you would have to pay the difference as Future for Frontliners only pays for the in-county rate. So keep that in mind. McDonald's Archways, high school students, you pretty much would be eligible for this if you are a McDonald's employee. It is also money to help pay for your college education. Talk to your manager to see about your eligibility. There is a form that you have to fill out online, and they will be able to direct you with that. Scholarships come in a variety of different forms. Typically, it's something that you earn. So whether it's academics, sports, you wrote an essay, things of that nature. At most, it will cost you an essay to receive a scholarship. Very few, very seldomly, they want you to participate in an interview. But most of the time, it's just simply answering a few questions about why you want this scholarship and how can it help you. We do have our own scholarships at MCC. They will be available starting, I want to say, mid to late January. Um, so that's that. Lastly, TIP, Tuition Incentive Program. It is through the state of Michigan. I myself was TIP eligible. And this is what I'm talking about when it comes to having a financial plan. Learning from my mistakes, being that I was TIP eligible, it would have been more advantageous to me to start at a community college. Reason being, TIP will help pay for a certificate or an associate's degree at a community college. So I could have did my 2 years at a community college and then transferred to Grand Valley had I wanted to. And that $32,000 that I accumulated in student loan debt from getting my bachelor's could have easily been cut to roughly $16,000. Okay. And the great thing about TIP is that you can combine it with scholarships and the Pell Grant. All right. So you probably said, Jamar, that was some great stuff about the resources, all that you have to offer. Thank you for telling me about the scholarships and all that good stuff. But you got any fun stuff? And so the answer would be yes. And this is also touching on one of those myths that community colleges are just born. You just go to class and that's that. Totally not the case. So we do have a host of activities here at MCC. I will start in the middle. Um, so every year we have this Jayhawk Frenzy. Jayhawk Frenzy is a welcome week for new and returning students. Basically, free food, free MCC swag, different games that we do. That picture at the top middle is featuring Jay the Jayhawk, our mascot, and then our president, Dr. Dale Nasberry. He loves interacting with students, joking when he's not in meetings. Um, the bottom middle is also taken from Jayhawk Frenzy. You see they have some free pizza, so who's not happy about that? Um, then working our way over, top left. That is yours truly, if you were wondering who that handsome man was. So prior to the pandemic, we had a faculty and staff versus students basketball game. Um, we ended up losing. I'm a little out of shape. I told you about. I still need to bring my six pack out of the cooler, so that kind of slowed me down a little bit. But he's still having a hard time dealing with me. So yeah, so we've done that. Looking forward to when we get that back up and running. But some other games that we've done is Foaling, uh, to which if you are not familiar with that, it's a cool game. Kind of set up like cornhole, except for there's no hole and there are bowling pins on the wooden slabs arranged in a triangle like they would at a bowling alley. And instead of throwing a beanie bag, you're throwing a football at them to knock them down. So we did that. We've done bubble ball. We've done jousting, to which I was just brilliant. No one could take me down. We've done human hungry hippo as an example, and of course the traditional cornhole. Um, Now, if you are one of those individuals who like the performing arts, we do have a vibrant performing arts program. That what you see pictured at the bottom left. We put on about 4 to 5 plays a year, and students act, direct, you know, starring them behind the scenes, whatever floats your boat. We also have a wind ensemble, a jazz ensemble, and a choir. So if that's your speed, we do have those things for you. Transitioning over, bottom right, that what you see pictured. Um, Before I go into that, I'll just say at MCC we have 25 student organizations and clubs. It ranges from an anime club, two different types of gaming clubs, one where they just play games, be it board games or video games. And then we have an e-gaming club. So we do have that. We have a Future Teachers Club, Nurses Club. If you're in the agriculture, we have a club for you. If there's a club that we don't have, but you would like to see it, all it takes is just a few like-minded individuals. People who say, yeah, I want to see that too. You get together, you find a staff advisor, and then you can make it happen. Now you started your own group. But so back to that picture. That is an electric dragster. Al Thomas is in that electric dragster. Um, Al Thomas is basically he oversees the automotive program at MCC. Um, that electric dragster, that's our baby. We have a world record for the world's fastest electric dragster. That was built by students in the automotive club, students in the automotive program, also students in our computer aided design and CNC program. They also helped design the frame of that, what you see. They are also sponsored, being that it's electric. They get, There's a company sponsoring the battery that powers that. So plenty of things to do at MCC. Lastly, we do have 17 different athletic teams, the most for any community college in the state of Michigan. All of them can and do award scholarships for you to participate. If you're looking at continuing or starting a collegiate athletic career at MCC and you're not being recruited, you can go onto our homepage, specifically the athletics homepage, and fill out the recruit me form to get that process started, and someone from the coaching staff will reach out to you. For my individuals who like sports, but you say, I don't think I want to play in college, but I still would like to be close to it. Essentially, you can apply to be like a team assistant or team manager. And that way, you're traveling with the team, you're doing what the team needs you to do in support of the team. And I do want to point out all of our home athletic events are free, sporting wise. All right. So you probably said, that's some good information you shared. I think I want to take the journey in becoming a MCC Jayhawk. How do I do that? Well, thank you for asking. We have a simple, easy 6-step enrollment process. As alluded before, first step is our application. It is free. It's only online, no paper app. All you need is a personal email address. Please do not use your school one. A lot of the times, they either block outside entities from contacting you, and or when you graduate, they basically deactivate the account. So go ahead and use your personal one, and then also make sure you apply with your correct social security number. Secondly, completing the FAFSA. We talked about that earlier, but make sure you get that done for my seniors. It opened up October 1. There's still plenty enough time to get that in and get that done. Make sure you got your FSA ID, and then completing the FAFSA. If you need help, we do have FAFSA Fridays. Those can be found on our website. Typically, they last from, I want to say 10 to noon or 11 to noon. And we'll put you in a breakout room, so you're not sharing any personal information. So we got you covered on that end. Thirdly, send us your transcripts and your SAT scores or ACT scores. I will say this: we do not require a certain GPA or test score to be admitted into MCC. We simply ask for your test scores to see if you're ready to go at the college level. Some students are not. I know if I were to start this process over again, math wouldn't be my strong suit. I would probably need to go into a developmental education course, specifically dealing with math, build my skills up, and then take a college level math class. But it's only for 3 areas: math, reading, and writing. So that's that on that end. Really, we want to see that you graduated high school. So whether it's your high school diploma, GED, we accept you and we'll get you to the point where you need to be academically. Um, Step 4, attending mandatory new student orientation. Here, you pretty much learn how to navigate all things related to being a student in your My MCC portal. So whether that's, where do I go to register for classes? How do I search for classes? How do I check my financial aid checklist to see if I'm missing any documents? How do I check my award letter if I was awarded financial aid? How do I set up a payment plan if I need to do that? All those things are covered in orientation. And you also learn how to navigate your MCC student email. Fifth step, meeting with the counselor. We talked about their dual role, so they'll make sure you're in the right classes. Whether you're going part-time or full-time, they'll get you the appropriate classes and amount of classes. Step 6, simply registering, hitting that register button, and then paying for them, hopefully with that FAFSA that we completed in step 2. For my seniors, um, April, May, we host senior visit days. Before the pandemic, If your high school signed up, you would come to campus. We would knock out steps 3 through 6. And essentially, you get registered before the summer hits. So before school lets out, you register for college classes. You're sitting back, chilling during the summer or working, but you don't have that stress of worrying about registering for classes because you already took care of it. Um, the pandemic hit, of course, before April, May of this year. So we took everything virtual. So the only thing that you missed out was the food that we feed you. So that's about it. So hopefully, we'll be back on campus in April and May, and you can get to experience that. If not, it will definitely be virtual, and we'll take care of you that way. So, for my folks in attendance that are not seniors, but you're looking at ways to earn college credit, here are some options for you. I will tackle dual enrollment and early college at the same time, being that they're very similar. One is just less structured than the other. So we'll start with dual enrollment. Dual enrollment, you kind of go at your own pace, whether you take one college class, two, three, four, five. Essentially, it all depends on what your high school schedule allows and what your high school allows. Typically, you will start that your 11th grade year, and then you knock out as many credits as you can, and you earn college credit that way. But you are still a high school student. You're just taking college classes. Early college, on the other hand, um, is highly structured. Essentially, you would apply your 10th grade year. If you're accepted, you start your 11th grade year. You're taking a set number of college classes during that time period. It also extends high school graduation for an additional year. So you'll still walk with your class, it just won't be official. But the goal is when you do officially graduate with your diploma, you not only graduate with that, you also graduate with your an associate's degree as well. And it's all paid for by the district, so you don't have to incur that cost. Moving on to direct credit. Essentially, if you're taking classes at your career tech center and they have an articulation agreement with us at MCC, your instructor will determine if you get that college credit. Typically, it's like a 101 course. So whether that be welding 101, allied health 101, um, so you get the gist of that. Basically, you will fill out the form. Your instructor will basically give the okay, and then send that to us to let us know that you're getting that credit. Lastly, we talked about AP earlier, but just to reiterate, you take the actual class, the AP class. You have to take the exam at the end and get a qualifying score. Some additional information on that. Um, Different schools have different scores that they require from the AP exam. So if you already know what school you want to attend, make sure you understand what the AP score you need to get that credit. And that is it. At the end, I do want to plug our social medias. Um, of course, we do have a Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube channel, Flickr. We are in the process of getting a TikTok. So if you want to see me bust out some dance moves, well, I haven't decided if I will, but you have the potential to see me and my illustrious dance moves. So um, be on the lookout for that. I know I talked about those free events where we give out free swag and free food. A lot of those are publicized on our social medias too. So it'll be good to follow those. Um, and with that, I am done with my presentation. Thank you for listening. I'll turn it over to Jody for questions.
Thank you, Jamar. That was just wonderful and some very, very practical information there. So I appreciate that so much. I did have a question. You had mentioned that scholarship applications open probably mid to late January. Is there an ideal date or an optimal date that students should apply by?
The scholarship or FAFSA
For,
or application?
for anything?
So our fall 2021 application opened up October 1, same as the FAFSA application. So those things can be done. In terms of the scholarships, I would say mid to late November when those will be open. Most of them have a deadline of March 1st. Sometimes they get extended, but they'll be on our website. If you go to our homepage, muskegoncc.edu, and you just search scholarships, that portal will open as well. So,
Great. And I appreciate so much you sharing about FAFSA Fridays, because I know in November we're going to be doing some financial aid related workshops virtually, and
okay.
we want to be able to connect students in Oceana, especially to MCC for support there. So
Yeah.
we'll be on the lookout for you. Let's see, free application and apply by March 1st is best. I think that's the major stuff. So I thank you today for your time, Jamar. And
Thank
I
you.
hope that students at home, if you need any support, can they email you? Is that the way to reach you best, or?
Email definitely works. We also have an appointment to which I can get that link to you and you can disperse it to the students. But essentially, they can book an appointment with me and we could do a video conference through this format, Zoom. And so, you know, I'm available that way.
Perfect. So for those of you who are watching at home, I'll post that link in our YouTube description so that you can connect with Jamar via appointment or email. Thank you again so much, Jamar. It was great to learn about MCC.
Thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate it.